Welcome back to Becky Amio Horse Training, and we are on Black Friday. It's ride number 14 here on LR Blue Ambrose, and today, since we've drilled the last two rides, my plan is to head straight out to the pasture, and we're going to take it at a pretty fast clip. When I'm starting colts for clients, generally speaking, they're going to use these horses to go out and do a job, and so I need this guy to saddle right up and head out of the yard at a trot, and we're going to take the pasture pretty fast. Well, relatively speaking, at a lope and a trot most of the way, and just try to get him out and get him going forward and get him happy and looking up and not drill on him at all today and not ask a whole lot of him mentally. So stick around and make sure you subscribe to the channel and share this video, and we're gonna get after it, okay? This was a really fun ride to video. This is when the colts really start to loosen up and you get confident on them as they build their own confidence. You know, we've already done and worked through a lot of trust issues, so now it's time to just ride out and enjoy them for the animal that they are. Now, Jeannie did video this particular ride, and she had to kind of get out further away from me because I was moving at such a fast clip. So there probably is going to be a lot more editing, and there's going to be some places where things get missed because she was trying to get in places where she could catch me coming and going. So I apologize for that in advance, but I did want to show you, I try to show you as much as I could leaving the yard as fast as I possibly could. And we had all the gates open already, so I didn't have to get off and open and close any gates. All the livestock that was in this particular pasture has now been moved to another pasture, and it makes it really easy and fun to go out and ride now when I don't have to worry about gates. I was impressed he lopes past this water tank as good as he did here. Usually they have to swap leads on me, drop to a trot, counter arc their body anytime they go past that water tank. I don't know what it is. It's just another thing for everybody to take a second look at. I am riding clear to the south fence line of this pasture, and I usually don't have horses that are such hotheads or such speed demons that going at this pace affects them. And I work on young enough stuff that, they play out. So I rarely have anything that's such a fireball that I have to deal with having to play them out, if you will. Like, they play out on their own, especially when you're riding them back to back to back. And I've tried to give this guy days off, and then the weather has forced me to give this guy days off. But he had the ride just the day before, and so this is 2 days in a row. This was the Friday after Thanksgiving, and the weather has been a little bit warmer, so he's playing out a little bit faster anyway because he's warmer than his body's accustomed to for this time of year. So he takes a walk right here on his own, and I kind of appreciate that because we're starting to degrade downhill pretty quick. And remember, these young ones don't have the balance yet. They start to get kind of that avalanche momentum to them, and he got that right there. So I took him back uphill pretty quick, and that slowed down that momentum. And if you have that opportunity to ride horses in the hills, that's kind of how I play it back and forth when they don't have their balance yet. Again, he's going to start having this momentum again, and it's a little bit scary, so I just try to angle him back and forth instead of straight down in this particular case. And I'm really familiar with the terrain here, so I know where there are holes, I know where there's rocks, I know where there's logs, and pieces of fences that are down. And so I felt pretty confident letting him lope right on through there. So this is how I get them comfortable to loping and galloping out in the wide open like this. If he really wanted to kick it into overdrive, I could send him right up a hill and that would play him out the rest of the way. But if you never kick them out of a trot or a lope, or if you never even kick them out of a walk or a trot, you know, you can't expect them to downregulate for you and get quiet after they've been allowed to move out a little bit. And I hope that makes sense. Everybody wants to try to keep the horse as quiet and calm and cool and collected as they possibly can. But I don't believe in that. I believe in kind of going as hard and fast as I can and then showing them that, hey, it is possible to handle themselves mentally, emotionally, and physically in a high energy circumstance and be able to calmly and quietly recover mentally and emotionally and physically. And I use the pasture to do that. I have these hills I can go up and down and change the speed. Like I said, these youngsters play out, but it's good that they learn this at a young age, 2s and 3s. They don't have all the stamina and strength that a 5, 6, 7-year-old does. Now right there, he spooked at one of the dogs, and at first I thought it was Weatherby, but it was Charlie. Charlie popped up out of those trees right there. I circled him back around and he was absolutely fine. But we've had a couple little spooks up to this point, and we know how to handle them up to this point. Down-regulate him, bend him around, drop the reins, and relax. No big deal. Oh, and the livestock guardian dog that's riding along with us, this is Sadie. She's a different dog than the one that came into the arena with us earlier on in our rides. So the fact that she's a different individual poses a different viewpoint as well. She's not the same one. She has different mannerisms. She has different ways she moves in the pasture with us when she rides out. So it's just something else for him to get accustomed to. I mean, he's riding out with 3 big dogs right now. And a 4-wheeler on top of that. The more I compete in the ranch versatility classes, the more I take every opportunity to walk over any downed tree I possibly can when I'm out in the pasture. They always have some sort of tree branches or logs or brush in those ranch versatility classes, so I try to stop at every one of these and step over it, side pass over it. The 3-year-olds that I was riding for Allowing Ranch at this time, I had them side passing over it and backing around it and whatnot, so I thought I'd play around a little bit with him and make him use it like an obstacle course a little bit, just like they would have us do in a ranch versatility course. Just something else for him to visually work on, and I am going to ask a little bit of him, but make it pretty low key, no high pressure situation for him. But it's just something that's out in the pasture, just another thing to do with them to be creative. You know, we're all limited by our own imagination, and I think that's one of my biggest problems personally when I ride out, is not allowing my imagination to find things for them to do. And I was just trying to do some side passing here with the log underneath him, and he wasn't totally getting it. But remember, he's not totally getting the side pass thing yet when we're out in the middle of the arena, so that's okay. This will come. By ride 40, 50, 60, he's going to have this. I'm not worried about it. I'm just happy he'll at least walk over it. So here again, another opportunity to practice backing up out in the pasture without being in the arena and pounding on him. And that's one of those things that I always forget to do when I'm out in the pasture is practice backing up. So stopping at that particular spot and forcing myself to work on it is always a good thing. Now we're going to head out of this pasture and go straight up this hill again as fast as we can go. Loping him straight up, taking all the hills that I can. You know, if he wanted to play out and if he wanted to slow down, I'd let him. I'm not going to force any colt up these hills. That's how you create an injury. But he does have to go up them to some degree. So from here on out, I'm going to let him walk. I've played him out. I've played my dogs out. We're just going to cruise on home. And, you know, after a ride like that, they generally don't want to be too anxious and jig home or be barn sour. You know, and if they want to be at this very point, I can turn him any direction and take him up and down some hills or go right back out again. So, you know, use your terrain to your advantage. Use everything that you can to your advantage to help get them more emotionally and mentally stable every time you ride them. I just sent him over a telephone pole right there. We keep these telephone poles and railroad ties out in the pasture because we generally cut them down and use them for fence posts when we're building fence, whether it's for the cattle, sheep, or the horses. So we kind of always have extra on hand, and I just took a little opportunity to kind of jog him over one, and he didn't care one bit about it. And Weatherby is always packing something in from the pasture. Today is no different from any other day. I think he found a pelvic bone from an old cow. Oh, he'll leave it there and he'll bring it up into the yard some other day. Again, walking quietly on the home stretch. He knows where home is at this point. He knows where the other horses are at this point. He can see everybody. He's just cruising along, nodding bob. He's in no hurry to get anywhere. Long, loose rein. Ears are forward. He's happy. He's comfortable. And we're developing a really well-rounded individual here. Alright, well, that went about exactly as I had planned. He rode out super. You know, we have to speed them up early on for them to learn the footwork, to learn how to handle themselves, to gain that muscle and gain that mental stability to be able to handle pressure. Because after all, we need to know right now whether he's going to be able to handle pressure or not, and it'd be good to know, or at least how we need to change his curriculum if he couldn't handle that kind of speed in the pasture. So I'm really pleased with how he worked, and I think what we're seeing here is that these Hancock Blue Valentine horses are pretty handy horses, and they've got great minds, and when started properly and given the chance, you know, I think they're pretty nice individuals. Please like and share this video and the whole series if you can. Like and share the YouTube page. I think we need to make more folks aware about these horses and this pedigree as it becomes to grow like it has been. So I appreciate y'all watching and staying for this long, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks.